everyone, welcome back to JP's Budget Collecting and our weekly cash or trash, where we talk about the hot comics of the week, and I make predictions sure to go wrong and rant about what people are spending their money on, and these kind of things. So we like to have fun with it. This is purely my opinion. I will be right, I will be wrong, but hey, we just like to talk about what's going on, and then I hold myself accountable in 6 months when I do the look back. And here comes the cat. You slept all day. So that is what this is about. We got a few people in the chat. I will apologize for being about 15 minutes later than normal. Someone forgot that the time changed this morning when they first got up. It took me a while to realize, oh, wait, there was a time change. What's going on? Unruly. We got VV in the house. Looked like Unruly was tailgating. I don't know if he's still here. What's happening? Mars Comics, what's going on? Pieface is saying TikTok. I know. Running behind. What's going on? Sam I Am, what is happening? Deep House. Yes. Cheesy, what's going on? All right, we got Dr. Lovebox, Daymares. What is happening, everybody? Okay, so quick reminder for anybody who's new, I'll try to make this quick, is we have, I break these down, I throw them into categories. We have our straight cash, books I think are going to go up. We have our about rights, or worth it, which are books I think are going to be about where they are, maybe a little more, but about right in that range. We got I'll Be Backs, which are books I expect to be down just slightly. We have Traps, which are books I expect to fall back significantly from where they're going right now. And then we have our Come On Mans, our Dumpster Fires, which are books that are just, what are you spending your money on? So those are our categories. Louis is in the house. What's going on? Mojo. Chris, thank you for hanging out. And let's get this started, all right? Here we go. First up, we got Kanto, number 1. The cat is not going to, settle. Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much right. So this is hitting the list because we got news that it's been optioned for an animated series. The result is this, what was going for about a $75 for a raw copy. Raw copies this week are hitting 150 plus, so they've about doubled this week. Here's the thing with Kanto. Kanto's been hot from the beginning. It was slowly climbing. It has cooled off a little bit during this second Kanto 2, the Hollow Men run. I feel like there's not as much buzz about it right now as there was as the first series wrapped up. So we'll see. But with this, my guess is this is going to come back, going to keep going. I would guess that this is at 150 for raw copies. I'm going back and forth between worth it to straight cash. I'm leaning towards straight cash, and I think this is actually probably going to be up. We will see. I could be wrong on that, but that's where I'm going to throw Kanto for now. We'll see what the comments are saying. Straight Kanto cast. What's up? Hey, D-Mets, what's going on? Yeah. Well, these are raw copies that are going for this price, but yeah. Yeah, definitely. She's not going anywhere. She's sitting just off the screen at the moment. So that's Kanto. I think that's probably, I don't know, this is kind of like The Poor Man, Something's Killing the Children. I don't think this book is really going to drop back much. Yeah. So there you go. All right. What do we got next? We have Cartoon Network starring the Powerpuff Girls, number 1. If you remember right, I just did this maybe 3 weeks ago on the look back. I should have looked to see exactly what week it was. We talked about this because there was news that CW is going to be making a Powerpuff Girls live action with them as adults show. So it had hit the list, and it dropped back considerably, but it was kind of a mess because there was a lot of confusion about what book people were looking for. Dr. Lovebox is talking about it. Well, the news this week is they cast Dove Cameron as Bubbles, Chloe Bennett as Blossom, and I don't remember who the other actress is as the green one. Buttercup. So, and yes, I remember this enough that like I watched it enough that yes, I know who they are, even though I was old at the time. So, because there's always like silly. So my thoughts on this show probably will either be a smash hit or a dumpster fire. I don't think there's an in between on this. I really don't. But right now, their first appearance is going for is back up to about $80 for a raw copy. An 8.5 went for $125. Now the reason they put an 8.5 on the lit or is the pricing is there's not hardly any of these that are slabbed. It's hard to find copies of these. It's probably really hard to find a high grade copy of this. 6 months from now, this show could just be coming out if they actually like start making it for this fall. I don't know if that's for sure the timeline, but that's my guess is that 6 months from now this show will be hitting the market. So my guess is at that moment it might be this much or more as it's coming out, especially if the first episodes are good. But between now and then, I would go with a absolutely wrong button. I'll be back on this. I think people will kind of forget about it in the meantime. I don't think it's going to have enough sustained buzz between now and when the show launches. When the show launches, it's probably going to go for more than it is even right now. But then later, we'll see how the show actually does. What adult doing? This is true. There's not many of them graded. That's right. So there you go. Merchandising. That's, yeah. Yeah, maybe. You never know. She could do more than one thing, but you never know. Mojo Canon Marvel. There you go. Next book is the same thing, basically. It is Powerpuff Girls #1. So this came out a year later. So that other came out in 99. This came in 2000. And it was they actually gave them the title this time instead of being part of the Cartoon Network starring or whatever. So this is their first self-titled. This one's going for $60 to $70 raw. I think this one might be slightly easier to find, but yeah. But all the things that I just said about the other one go for this one. This is also and I'll be back, in my opinion. I think between now and when the show launches, you'll be able to get it for less. Once the show launches, it'll probably be more, but that's where I'm at on this. The great cartoon might be tough to adapt. That's going to be the interesting thing. Like I said, I think this is either going to be, if the writers are really smart and they can pull this off, I think it could be a smash hit. I also think it could be an absolute dumpster fire, and I'm not sure there's much in between on this. I'm really not sure. Making this live action, I mean, it's live action superheroes. That's not that hard, but just making the way their personalities work, the way that world worked, how silly and goofy and it was, bringing that to live action is going to be tough. All right, we're going to move away from Powerpuff Girls, but to another animated show potentially. So this is, I'm clicking in the wrong place. This is Lenor #1. Basically, news came out this week that Neil Gaiman was attached to a animated series, and they didn't say what the name was, or at least the way I interpret it was, they weren't sure what the name, that it was actually this series, but it was basically described as a Tim Burton-esque horror cartoon kind of thing. And like, this is the book that fits, this is the Neil Gaiman book that fits the bill. This thing is going for only $10 raw, but it was probably a dollar bin book before that. But a 9.8 went for $200. Good luck probably finding a 9.8. Another book that's like, who slabbed this? That's a game empire. Fantastic Forces. That's awesome. So that's what's going on with this. It's supposed to be some sort of dark comedy, cartoon animated thing that kind of falls in, Nightmare Before Christmas type thing that was from Tim Burton. It is a very creepy cover. Like I said, 9.8 went for $200. My guess is that's because of the lack of 9.8s. Again, I would put this in I'll be back. We'll see if this actually comes to fruition. We'll see if it actually matters. That's the whole thing. It's only $10 raw right now. I'm not sure there's a ton of them listed. I didn't go look, but to me, this is a classic kind of, make a note of it. If you stumble across it, okay, kind of I'll be back kind of thing. Next, we got another animated series. Third, well, we had the animated series going to live action, and now we have 2 animated series coming from comic books. This is Slam #1. Supposedly they're making an animated series off of this, which was only like a 6-issue run that people really didn't ever get into that much. It wasn't a super successful run, but supposedly they're making an animated series off of this coming to HBO Max. This is basically a roller derby type world, or this is these girls are playing roller derby, so that's the center of what this is about. But like, there's obviously all the other side stuff going on. Hey, Warlord, what is happening? So yeah, this one has jumped up to a $20 book for a raw copy. $20 for a raw copy. This one also had a 9.8 go for 200. There's just only a 6,500 issue order for this #1. But again, the announcement is they're going to make an animated series. We're ways away from any kind of animated series. This is, again, classic. If you're interested in it or getting it to sell when it comes out or whatever, or specking on it, you just wait and come back in a couple months before the series ever comes, when nobody's thinking about it and before the series is coming out. My guess is they'll probably get away with more violence in an animated than they would maybe in a legit one. But yeah, D-Bows is saying trap. I can see that. I could definitely see that. My guess is it'll be a 5 to 10, which probably actually does fit my definition of a trap. It's probably when we come back in 6 months, I guess it's probably still like a $10-ish book, which is right on that borderline of trap, I'll be back kind of thing. So yeah, if it's going for 10, 15, and I'll be back. If it's going for 5 to 10, it's a trap. I'm kind of on a $20 book. So it is kind of a cool cover. I do kind of like the cover. But there you go. That is Slam #1. I think they actually have it in some places, but I don't know that for sure. I feel like maybe it's made a comeback. And I'm clicking on it wrong. I am all over the place today. Next, we have Pop Kill #1. This is the from 2020. This is the Kickstarter variant by Adam Hughes. So Adam Hughes did a Kickstarter variant for this. So you can only get this cover if you supported the Kickstarter. Not sure what made this jump this week necessarily. It was a $40 buy-in back when you were supporting the Kickstarter. The book actually, the series came out in 2020. Maybe this was delayed actually getting out to people that did the Kickstarter. I don't know. But this cover here is going for $2 to $250 for a raw copy right now. Sexy Adam Hughes cover, but who really cares about Pop Kill? To me, that's what holds it back as much as anything. Is that, like, do you really care about the series? And is the cover good enough that you would buy it for $200 if you didn't actually care about the book? That's kind of what I would. Yeah, I've seen better from Hughes. I get this is probably super limited. But to me, this is also an I'll be back. I think it'll always have high value. It just won't necessarily go to the crazy $250 it's going right now. Hey, Johnny, what is going on? I already talked about Kanto, and I said it was straight, and I said Kanto was this. So there you go. That's not what this is. This Pop Kill, I think, is probably very much this, and I lean toward that, just because I don't think the series matters. So who's going to remember this cover really? And I don't think it stands out that well for Adam Hughes. So probably I'm going to change my notes. I'm going to say this is my prediction for Pop Kill. All right, let's go. Boy, I'm having trouble navigating today. I have trouble navigating all the time. Who am I kidding? Next, we got Children of the Atom #1. So this is our other cover of the week. This Jim Lee 1 in 100 just came out, and this 1 in 100 is going for $150 to $250 for for raw copies right now. That's not really unusual for, like, most 1 in 100s don't even go for 100 right after release. The ones that do will jump up to this kind of range, and then they either, like, become ridiculous that you never see them again, or and that's usually though also limited print books where there aren't very many of them, and are super popular covers. I don't think this cover is going to do it. I mean, it's Jim Lee's. It's probably old Jim Lee art that they're reusing. Hey Phil, what's going on? Hey Alex, Reese Comics Books, what's going on? Yeah, it's remastered artwork. Yeah, Sam Pass. I don't know. I didn't read it. The only X book I'm reading right now is Marauders. There's no way I think this holds at 150, 200. I think this comes back to ratio or less in 6 months. I think you're looking at a $70 to $100 cover in 6 months. I just don't think it stands out that much. It's not that dynamic. It usually, for one of these to take off, it's got to be focused on one or two characters. It's got to be like a really good. These group covers like this, even a wraparound, don't tend to do as well. So that's my thoughts on that. So that one I also think is kind of a trap. At 150, 200, I think it's going to be, or 150, 250. Yeah, I think it's going to be more of a $170 to $100 book. John's saying it was a good read. There you go. Next up, we got. All right. I just want to I should have put something together to flash up on the screen. This is not Miles. Which I don't think anybody's confusing this. As if I guess somebody did an article that this was the first Black Spider-Man. So people started jumping on this $10 book. Suddenly became 100 plus, depending on condition. Well plus, depending on condition. This is not Miles. This kid does not go on to be Miles. If you read recently the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man storyline, where they had the spider bite that everybody kind of expect, they're introducing a Spider-Man sidekick. And it was really just a sick kid that Peter helped out for an issue. This is kind of what's going on with here. Not exactly, but this kind of this is a one-off where he lets this kid have powers for a day, basically. Yeah, to me, this is absolutely a trap. It just is. There's some buzz right here. Will it be a $10 book? Probably not, but should it be maybe a $20 book? It's kind of a cool side bit of Spider-Man history, but a $100 book? No, thank you. No, thank you. Hey, Jay Hood is in the house. What's going on? We got Kachung and Delphia somewhere, I'm sure. What's going on? Kudos for Peter's first cameo. So yeah, this is just a trap. There's buzz right now, but there's nothing to sustain this. This kid, Dwayne. This is not Miles. This is Dwayne. There's nothing going to happen here. So next we have our hot indie of the week. This is Nottingham #1. So this is kind of an interesting alternate take on the classic Robin Hood story. And it's going for $25 to $35 out the gate. I hear you. Good grief. It's basically flipping that whole story on its edge that, Robin Hood and his merry men are still robbing from the rich to give to the poor, but they're also executing people and zealots and terrorists. And this is basically following, they're basically telling it from the sheriff of Nottingham's perspective. Supposedly it's super violent. I haven't read all this, but it's kind of flipping that whole thing on its head. Kind of I guess. So there's a lot of buzz with this. It's going for big money right off the bat. Supposedly it's super violent. I did not grab this. I hadn't heard about it even before it came out. This is when I'd missed. Not that I grab a ton of indies. I usually wait for trades, but yeah. So to me, the series has got to matter. Right? That's what it always comes down to with these hot indies is, can it sustain a fandom? If it can do Kanto, Something is Killing the Children type things and be worth big money. Even though Die isn't worth any more than this, and it's sustained for a while, at 25 to 35, I know it's a relatively low print, I would still call this an I'll be back. I think it's really depending on where the story goes and how well it supports. I wouldn't necessarily chase it immediately. The other thing is with a lot of these indies is they'll come out, they'll get real hot, several issues will go along, they'll kind of settle as people are getting into the story, that kind of thing. And then something will happen and they'll go one of two, they'll either go up or they'll crash. And that's usually what happens. But there's usually a delay in that. So I think you got time to try to track this down. I'd just be patient and look for this one. Yeah. There you go. So it seems like people aren't huge on that have read this for not huge on it. So no. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But it really matters where the story goes. Will determine the fate of this. How much people like this story, and does it have enough legs to sustain it? At 25 to 35, that's a pretty steep initial buy-in for a hot new indie. So we'll see. Next, we have on the list for the second week in a row, ENIAC, and really this is on the opposite list is what happened here. It didn't make the CBSI list last week. It made Tom's list. This week it's on the CBSI list. It's still going for basically the same money it was going last week, that 140, 150-ish range. A reminder, the black trade dress, the white trade dress is the first print, which is very limited. If it's got a black trade dress, it is a open order reprint. You can just go on their website and order it. You do not pay big prices if it's got the black trade dress. It's not a limited second print. It's a wide open. Anybody can go order it. Like Nottingham, but got it for the cover. Yeah, there you go. So that's what's going on here. We talked about this a little bit last week. This is a hot indie of the moment. It kind of was a weird distribution model. There's not a lot of these, so people are jumping on it. And it's still going pretty strong. My statement on last week was that I'll be back. I'll stand by that. It's, this is something, again, it matters how well the series continues to do. If the series drops off and people stop reading it, it's not going to matter at all. It's an absolute trap at that point at these values. I think because it's limited and it's got at least some initial good buzz, I think it'll probably be okay. But thank you, John. Sam liked the first issue. There you go. Yeah. Well, or just track down one of those. If you want to read it and missed out on it, track down one of the open order reprints and just to read it. Because you can get them straight for them for cover price. You don't have to pay crazy eBay fees. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with the story here. I would stick with an I'll be back on this one, like I said last week. Next, we got a bit of a surprise to me. This is Magic. Number one, the Ash Can edition. This is basically hit stores a little bit as a surprise, I guess, and it's going for $40 all the way to $150 for raw sales of this right out the gate. Now there was a couple sales around $150. It seems to have settled more in the 40-ish, 50-ish range on the lower end of that, but there were a couple sales for way up to $150 as it was hitting the market and people didn't know how limited it was and anything else. There's a lot of buzz around this Magic series coming from Boom Studios. People are thinking they might actually get a good series. Magic comics have traditionally been awful. No one's cared about them. And so we'll see if Boom can turn this into something. Can they make a Magic book work? And that's really what's going to determine what happens here. I would also put this in the I'll be back category. From the cover, it looks like a pleasant story. Yeah. So I know I have a hard time believing that this can sustain, but Magic is super popular. The cards are still super popular. The game is still super popular. So if they can get a good writer and do something with this potentially has some legs, but we will see. And that's the thing. That's the thing that's always also ever happened. One of the reasons that the series have never worked, they've never been serious about it because they knew Magic players didn't really care about comics. They care about their cards. And so is there enough here to cross it over? I have my doubts. That's why I would put it as an I'll be back if you really want it. Next, we got the cat is determined to get my attention. So next we got Marvel Voices, #1. A couple things going on here. This is the first cameo of the Children of the Atom that were introduced just this week. And then this is also like Tom and Russ spent a whole lot talking about the fact that it's also the first, not the first appearance, but they kind of a reveal of the goddess spider is basically the spider that bit Peter and Cindy Moon, like is basically still alive and is like sentient and yeah, from all the experiments. And so yeah, that's also going on here, which they spent more time talking about that than the Children of the Atom people characters. But I think it's really hitting the list this week because of the Children of the Atom cameo. $15 to $35. To me, I didn't actually write this down, but this is also an I'll be back. We'll see if those kids matter. We'll see if that series goes anywhere. So a lot of I'll be backs this week. But yeah, 15 to 35. We'll see. Something's going to happen with them before they jump. You think about how long it usually takes for something to really take off. It might go a little further. Do we think this is Strange Academy with these Children of the Atom? We'll see. But I would lean toward this as an I'll be back. What? Why are you all fired up? All right, what do we got next? We got 19 books this week, so it's going to take a minute. We got Justice League of America 144, and this is the first appearance of the Manhunters, the robot androids as a group, not Manhunter, the original, which is, what is his name? I wrote it down because I couldn't remember. Tom Shaw? Is it Tom Shaw? Mark Shaw. There you go. It was covered up off my screen, on my notes. So yeah, but the rumor is the android version of the Manhunters is what's going to be one of the villains or a main part is coming to the HBO Green Lantern show. So that's what made this book hit the list. It's only gone 10 to 15 for raw copies. The 9.8 went for 140, but I would still stand by. You probably got time on this one. For sure. So yeah, well, they didn't. The cat says dumpster fire. I think he's maybe talking about the previous one, the Marvel Voices. You just never know right now. Like any kind of new characters, we'll see if that Children of the Atom is a hit. Then maybe that'll be that book will take off. But I would still put it as a I'll be back. And this is definitely an I'll be back because we still got time before the show comes out. You got news that they're in it, so now it's on your radar if you want to have it. But yeah. All right, next. Try to crank through this. I don't know how long we've been going. 30 minutes, not too bad. On the list for the second week in a row, this is the Action Comics #9. This is the second appearance of Calvin Ellis. He clearly appears in Final Crisis #7 for multiple pages, talks, interacts, is introduced, named, all of that stuff. It's clearly his first appearance. But this one is the one that took off again this week further. Last week it was running around a $50 book for raw copies. Now raw copies are going to run you $125 to $150. 9.6 went for $500. Yes, a 9.6 went for $500 on this thing. This is all the speculation that they're going to make a Black Superman movie, and Michael B. Jordan's attached, and this is probably the version of Black Superman they're going to use. As opposed to Val Zod, they're probably going to go with this one because this is the one Michael B. Jordan said he was interested in playing. This is absolutely a trap, I think, at this point. This is crazy. I realize the cover is driving this, but he's not even his first appearance. This is really high, I think, for something that DC does not have a good history of following through on these things. I know we got news again about Batgirl and Zatanna. How many different times have we had Batgirl and Zatanna movie, new show, rumor, spec, news, and we still ain't got it, and we're still a long way from getting it. And we'll see if this happens, but I would not be jumping all over this book. So I will say it's kind of a confusing thing. There's a book that's the first appearance of Mark Shaw, the Manhunter, and then there's a first appearance of Manhunter, and like Marshall, who becomes the Manhunter, I guess, and then who's a human who becomes a Manhunter, and then there's the first appearance of the Manhunter, which is the issue before, and then there's that issue. So where we actually get all the androids and stuff. It's really kind of weird. It's kind of a weird thing. Well, yeah, that's what it came out during that time. That's what this was all about. Like a lot of it was kind of a takeoff of Obama, and is what they were doing. And yeah, it was. But anyway. Darn it. Weenus not allowed anymore. No, this is true. So, but yeah, we'll see if this ever comes to anything. I just DC movies, DC live action, I just don't have a lot of faith in at the moment. I just don't. So I would have a hard time. I think this is absolutely a trap at this point. Next, we got, let's scroll across the bottom because we're still going. She-Hulk number 22, which is kind of a cool cover. I don't know if I remember seeing this cover before, but this is the first appearance of Jacinda, who is the Skrull daughter of the Super Skrull. And basically, for a period of time, she disguises herself as Jennifer Walters. So here's the spec on this book. There was a Skrull at the end of WandaVision. There's a She-Hulk show coming. There's Secret Wars coming. Or Secret Wars or Secret Invasion, I guess. Secret Invasion coming. Let's spec on a Skrull that has some relation to She-Hulk. That's the path here. That's really the path here to get to this. But it's jumped up to a $10 to $15 book. 9.8 went for $140 for this. 9.8 went for $80. Looked at the wrong line. But still $10, $15 book raw. 9.8 went for $80. This is absolutely at 10 to 15. I would call it an I'll be back. If it was going for any more, it's a trap. I mean, who knows what Skrulls they're going to use, if they're going to, it's definitely, yeah, if it was going for any more than this, it would definitely be a trap, but it's probably just an I'll be back because it's probably going to be a $5, $10 book. Okay, it's a Skrull first appearance. If you really want to spec on it, it's $10, $15. I guess it's not that big of an expense, but this is a pretty wide leap. There's several steps to make this leap to get to this character as being important. So we'll see. Jacinda. I'm sure I didn't pronounce it right. It's J.A. Zinda. So there you go. But yeah. Deodato, yeah. Is that that's a Deodato cover. It's a really cool cover. I do like that cover. I will admit that. I'd almost pay if I was She-Hulk collector. I'd probably pay the 10 to 15 for the cover. But like paying for the Skrull, I don't think so. All right, next. Stay in the comments. Next, we got Daredevil number 9. This is the first appearance of Echo. This jumped again this week. Now we got news back in the fall at the Disney thing that Echo is coming to, I forget which project, but Echo is probably coming to one of the MCU shows or movies. I forget which one. So this book jumped. There was no new news this week. Nothing. But there's like many Marvel books right now, although to a much smaller degree, took off this week. It had been trending right around $40, $50 consistently since the news back at all the rumors and everything back in December at the Disney announcements and stuff. And now it's a $100 book this week. Don't know why. I couldn't find any news that would make people jump back on this, but suddenly it's back. It's up to a $100 book. You did good. If you want this for that. Hey, Schulte, what's going on? We got 68 people in here. That's awesome. Thank you, everybody. So I don't know, but $100. You think about where like the Cindy Moon is. She's just getting the show. She's not coming to the MCU. Think about Kamala Khan. Think about America Chavez. Now I realize this character's probably not going to be a main character, but think about what Monica's book went for. It's probably still. I think you probably are going to have a chance to get it for less than this between now and whenever she finally appears. But long term, it's probably this. I think short term, it's probably that. But we'll see. Maybe it just takes off and keeps going, like some of those other first appearances. Maybe people are just interested in Echo at this point. But Yeah, I would lean toward that this is probably where this book is going to be for a while. People are jumped on these characters and they're sticking with them. Yeah. I go. Hey, Studio Fitness, what's happening? Yeah, we would hope, but unfortunately, her rights are screwed up with Marvel or with Sony and stuff. So I don't know that we're going to get her anytime soon. Well, at least in the MCU proper. Next, we have Captain America 323, first appearance of John Walker. Now, to my recollection, this is the first time this book has been on the list. We've had his first as U.S. agent and his first as Captain America of John Walker. Those books have hit the list, but this is the first time I remember his first appearance hitting the list. I could be wrong on that, but this is hitting the list because Falcon and the Winter Soldier is coming this week. Well, yeah, this coming Friday. We know he's gonna be a part of it. We don't exactly know how big a role or what role he's gonna play. We know he's gonna be a part of it. 9.8. We had record sales for 9.8 of 600, record sale of a 9.6 for 350, a record sale of a 9.2 for 150. So people are jumping on this before the series even starts, thinking it'll probably go higher. That's my statement, is it'll probably go higher during the course of the series than it is right now. So if you were going to do a quick turn, you could probably buy it right now and make money in 3 weeks, a month, depending on what kind of role he plays. But over long term, do we really see this character being important to the MCU? I doubt it. Long term, I think it's definitely an I'll be back. Come back later. Very near short term, it's this. It's just the way these books have jumped related to these MCU shows. Yeah, this book's going to go up over the next couple of months while Falcon and Winter Soldier is coming out. And then 6-8 months from now, it's probably going to be dropping back, because unless they just set him up to be important going down the road, which I kind of doubt, but we'll see. The John Walker fan. Yeah. I don't know what they just listed, and I didn't look to see what he was actually called. This is just his first appearance as a character, so I don't know what his name was in this one. Yeah, I thought she was in Hawkeye. That's the one. I couldn't remember the one. That Hawkeye is the one where I thought they were expecting that she was going to appear. So maybe they think she's going to show up earlier. Maybe so that might be what's going on with Echo. I had not heard that. So there you go. All right, we got 2 books left. 2 books left. Avengers West Coast, number 56. Yeah, they changed it at one point from West Coast Avengers to Avengers West Coast. I didn't remember that, but that's a really crappy title. Not that West Coast Avengers is great, but Avengers West Coast? Really? So anyway, this is the first appearance of the Dark Scarlet Witch. So after the finale and everything else, even though she was kind of dark in this one, people are thinking, because this is kind of a storyline where she's trying to get her kids back. She kind of goes crazy after she loses her kids. But maybe this is where they're going. It's going for $25, $30. This is a trap. Here's the thing. A, it's a year till we're going to get, at least a year till we're getting Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. B, I don't know that that's where they're going with this. For Wanda, we'll see. Even if they do, you got a ton of time on this. I think I would absolutely be patient and come back for this one later. And that's the thing, is they just put her in her class, gave her the Scarlet Witch title, put her in her class in a version of the classic costume for the first time, although it's not we gave her the crown and all that kind of stuff. I don't know that they're going to go with this version. Yeah, they just kind of put her in the thing. This seems really weird. Free, there you go. They wanted the Avengers logo large and prominent. Okay, there you go. That makes sense, I guess. I'm pretty sure you absolutely can find this, and I would not pay $25, $30 for this. No. I think she did sell as a cape. So, and then last but not least, another one I think is very iffy spec coming out of WandaVision. Marvel Spotlight number 4, the first appearance of the Darkhold. Obviously, we saw her reading the book. People are jumping on the book. Now, this is also the third appearance of Werewolf by Night, so this book had value anyway, but it has jumped significantly. Raw copies are averaging $320 right now. A 9.2 went for $675, and this is absolutely only because it's the third appearance of Werewolf by Night, so it already has value. Otherwise, this is a I'll be back. If it didn't have that, it would be absolutely. Oh, I don't want to delete that. A trap, and maybe even a come on, man, because when on Earth has the first appearance of an object mattered at all? The Gauntlet? Name another one. Other than the Infinity Gauntlet, what other object first appearance has maintained any kind of value? A book? To me, this is I get people were excited about the show. This is kind of like that cover with Iron Man with the Gauntlet that was going $100 after Endgame, and now it can be had for 10 to 15. To me, that's what's happening here. To a certain degree, with this jumping on this Darkhold. The value in this book is it's the third appearance of Werewolf by Night. It's not that it's the first appearance of the Darkhold. The Necronomicon. There you go. Is the first appearance of the Cosmic Cube worth anything unruly? I don't even know what issue that is. The only issue I could name you of an object that first appeared is when the Infinity Gauntlet first appears. So maybe that still also has to do with Beta Ray, but it's not his first. Yeah, that would be one. I would guess Big O. That's a good one. I hadn't thought about Stormbreaker. I think it does still have a little bit of value. Batwing first appearance. Superman's Cape. Okay, well, there's maybe a few more than I'm thinking, but to me, this is people. There's no way this maintains this kind of heat just because of the Darkhold. Let's just put it that way. All right, that was this week's list. I think that's all 19 comics this week. Good grief. Those are my thoughts. I'll be right. I'll be wrong. I want to thank you guys for hanging out. We're up to 72 people in the chat. That's amazing. Thank you so much. I hit 1,900 subs yesterday, which is awesome. Real quick things I have coming up is I have whatever report tonight. I haven't made a thumbnail yet, but I'll do that here in a minute. I have D&D over on Whitewell Comics channel tonight. We might finally wrap up the Curse of Strahd. We'll see. Tomorrow night, I will be over on John's channel, over on this guy's channel. I know nobody's ever heard of him or knows him or anything like that, but we'll be hanging out on John's Comics with Kids, playing Comigories. We got Bonafide as our defending champ. He's going up against No Good Comics. We got Comic Man Andy. And I am now blanking on. I always do this. There's always one I blank on. John will help me. I'll stall long enough, John, to put the other person in the chat. Dang it. I always blank on the last person that's going to be on Calgary. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you, Sam. I don't know about that, John, but you're supposed to be helping me out here. Kachung is in the chat. Why didn't Kachung correct me? So bad. Kachung. So yeah, Bonafide's going up against No Good, and then we got Andy and Kachung in the other one. So it should be a lot of fun. Peace out, Unruly. We'll catch you guys later, and yeah, bye. And I left the stream instead of ending it.